Mia Urman, welcome back. Welcome back to the program. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks for having me again, Jim.
Yeah, it
I
was
can't believe it's been 8 months, like you
it,
mentioned.
it's almost exactly 8 months ago. It was
Wow.
in December of 2020, and you were getting ready to do a session at the Sangam 20 conference, which is
Right,
the All India
right.
Oracle User Group. So we had a conversation
Time
at that time.
flies.
Yeah, I know. It just feels like yesterday, but it's 2020. So everything, and we've never left, and we've never left, 2020. So
We haven't left our rooms since
exactly,
then, right?
exactly. So you're in Israel, and you're also
Yeah.
the CEO of AuraPlayer. And the last conversation we had, we're talking about Oracle Forms and modernization strategies, and you had a whole bit about that. And so I wanted to catch up with you. I try and sort of, continue to catch up with people in the community. And you came across my desk again, so I wanted to chat. And you're doing a new session, a couple of new sessions recently. So let's start off there.
Yeah, so it is the year of the virtual still, right? We're still kind of stuck in our, like we said, in our square Zoom boxes. But since we last spoke, I've done many virtual conferences, but still around forms modernization. This year really is the year of automation, of RPA, robotic process automation, because what's been happening is people are kind of starting to move some of their workloads to the cloud, yet half of their workloads are stuck on premise. Half of their staff is no longer available, so they have no way of easily doing, massive data entry. So the whole issue of kind of automation of how we get the cloud to automatically update the forms or ERP, EBS backend systems, how we get data entry to be smooth, right? Like how can we do it that, your email, Excel files, whatever else could automatically update your back office without having, a whole staff of people to type in and do manual data entry and labor has really been pushed to the forefront. So a lot of what we're doing in the conferences is focused around that. So we actually just had the Kscope conference, very near and dear to my heart. Not seeing my whole Kscope gang was, very, very difficult.
Right.
It was a big joke that Wednesday, special event was the highlight of my year. But it was an incredible digital event dedicated to Joel Coleman of Oracle, which we desperately miss, and it was a big loss to the ACE Director community. Apex cheerleader, tons of passion. So having that conference dedicated to him was very beautiful.
Yeah. And it was a pretty long event too. It was a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah, we spread it out over 2 weeks.
So people had a good chance.
Positive.
So I think people had a really good chance. I saw a lot of conversation online for sort of reminiscing about Joel and getting a lot of good feelings out, for him. So
yeah,
good.
We did a blog post too about our worlds collide when we used to talk to him. Because until Joel, it was always like Apex versus Forms, and Forms is dead and Apex is the the king, and he was like one of these really white flag in the middle. There's room for everybody, and let's see how we could work together. And he even worked with us to plug in Forms with Apex using REST services, which was one of the newest features of Apex. So it was really beautiful, and he was a big supporter of Israel. He came to the Israeli Oracle User Group events twice. His last event, I think, was a keynote there where he learned Hebrew. And he came in and he literally started addressing the crowd in Hebrew. He was like, "Hello, everybody. My name is Joel. I'll be doing the keynote." And the whole room was like floored. And then he's like, those are the only 2 sentences I know. So I'll do the rest in English.
So was it clear? Was it really good? Wow.
Yeah, he really did a good job. We should find the footage and, add it as an addendum to our little video. But
wow.
But it just shows like how much heart he had, to think of the other. So that was kind of Kscope and missing, the loss there. But also what's kind of interesting is we're going to be doing the Ascend conference, which used to be the Collaborate conference, for the Oracle Applications User Group, Applications and Technology User Group. That's going to be in the Diplomat in Florida.
Oh, cool.
So it's half virtual, half on site. So we'll see how that works out.
Where in Florida?
At the Diplomat Hotel.
No, but what city?
Oh, it's Miami, Florida.
Miami,
like
okay,
right
cool.
on the beach.
Oh, wow, okay.
I think the Diplomat Hotel is like its own city. It's like gigantic spa right on the beach. Because funnily enough, Kscope had an event there also a few years back. But we're really looking forward. We're going to be both sponsors there as well as doing a few sessions.
So you can take some vacation too as well?
No.
Oh, you're in Miami.
August, there's like no summer camp, no camp. My husband, watching the 3 boys under the age of 13, is going to be like, if I come back and my house is still standing, it'll be a miracle.
That was the same. That was the same excuse you used for not going to India, right? Was the 3 kids at home, right?
But August, right now, at least they could be outside. Last time I went to I think it was the Kscope conference, my husband every day would send me these kind of little photos. So one, he sends a photo of all the kids wearing swimming goggles and holding Nerf guns. And he's like, tonight's activity. I'm like, I don't allow guns in the house. The minute I left, he bought like 3 Nerf guns on Amazon. They're all wearing, swimming goggles and chasing each other around the house. The next day, he sent me a picture of him drinking like half a cup of scotch. He's like, yes, it's 4:00 somewhere. I was like, okay, I can't take vacation in August. But yeah.
All right. Well, at least, I mean, since you'll be right on the beach there, at least you can scoot out after a couple of sessions and hit the beach a little bit.
Exactly.
So tell me about this user group. Tell me about what you're going to be talking about.
So the Oracle Applications User Group is a really great user group because it really tries to bring together everything to do with both the Oracle world, but also all of the extras around Oracle e-business suite. So even if it's like on-premise e-business suite, they talk about, the SaaS applications. They talk about moving your e-business suite to the Oracle Cloud, like the lift and shift messages that Oracle are talking a lot about how to take your existing e-business suite and put it on cloud servers. And they have a very large mobile community. We've done a lot of customer success stories there with our customers, Worthington Industries, how they did mobility, how they did automation using their on-premise Oracle e-business suite to make a digital warehouse application. We did something with CPP as well, where they did split move of their inventory management on mobility. So it's like really good mix of, customer speaking, ACE director speaking, Oracle presenting, but really focused around solutions for digital transformations of e-business suite, which, is unique in that way where it's kind of like very focused on applications. So we kind of like it there because almost everybody there is like really looking for the next big thing in e-business suite, which is, of course, our focus as well. So that's fun.
So when we spoke last, we were talking a lot about migration strategies and stuff, because obviously everyone's moving to the cloud. This is not a new story. It's years old now. But what is new is obviously, the pandemic. And so everybody is forced to go virtual. So I'm wondering what your experience has been in terms of, customers and developers out there. How has their last year and a half or so been in terms of actually accelerating all these migrations? Has it caused a lot of stress, or is it going relatively okay?
So we have kind of 2 types of customers we're seeing. We're seeing deer in headlights, okay, which is like, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. We don't know how much money we're going to have in budgeting. Don't touch anything in our system because don't fix what's not broken or what's not moving. And we're trying to explain to them, like, these are things that need to happen. They do not require a large amount of budget, especially with cloud applications. You could scale as you go, right? Start small, do an agile type development, build small mobile applications, build small, move small amounts to the cloud, grow as you go, and that type of message, where we feel like a lot of these customers are just like, everything's on hold. And then we have others who are like, well, wait a minute, there has to be a better way. My, workforce is at home. They can't do these manual tasks of, comparing invoices to purchase orders and sit there all day. A lot of these menial labor tasks can't be done. And how could we automate them? How could we offload a lot of the simple work and leave, the real thinking to our employees? How could we mobilize a lot of these workloads where people could do it from their homes easily? A big one has been time reporting, right? We had several customers purchase our mobile application to do time reporting because it makes no sense to have to do that from a desktop, right? Where you could easily have it on your mobile phone, log your hours. It'll automatically send it to your manager for approval. Vacation requests or sick day requests, right? It doesn't make any sense for someone to need to do that on a desktop, to log in through VPNs or request you're in bed sick, right? So a lot of those offloads we see, a lot of those workloads we see people offloading and doing those things, and I think people are in shock at how quickly and easily they can be done. Something that somebody takes 6 months to decide takes us 4 days to implement, and they're like, "What? That was it, right?" Wow. it's like rip off the Band-Aid, guys.
So at least there's some silver lining here in the sense of some technology has advanced more quickly than it otherwise would have.
Right, and I think people are seeing that also with Oracle Apex, right? That people are like trying to figure out how to mobilize things that are sitting in their database, scratching their heads. And then here comes along people, one of the partners we work with is Insum, and also them, they make a few clicks, next, and poof, you have these mobile forms that people could do data entry to any database table, stored procedure. I think a lot of these companies are needing more information. Why I think these podcasts are so important, because I think people just don't know how easy and what's available to them from the Oracle tool set to really push digital and mobile forward so quickly. And it's my job as an ACE director, at least that's what I think my job is, to go and like scream from the rooftops and talk at every event I can to really say, guys, put your trust in the Oracle tool set, put your trust in experts who can help you through it. And let's at least start moving things forward, right? Don't wait for the next thing to come. Right. Because one of the nice things about Oracle is they don't drop anything, right? Oracle Forms, people have been working in Oracle Forms for over 2 decades, right? If you build something in Apex today, and then in 10 years they decide that something's better, trust me, you'll still be able to do Apex the same way you're still able to do Forms. I've been doing Forms since 1998, right? So what are you going to do? Wait around to see, right? It's really time to you see what could happen where in a day you need these types of you need mobile infrastructure, you need automation, RPA infrastructure, you need cloud to be readily available, to be able to scale up, to be able to be disaster recovery proof, right?
And that's also one of the benefits of having an enterprise mentality, basically. I mean, you're dealing with, a lot of small customers, obviously, but you're dealing with massive customers and, developers who are developing applications for this, stuff that's so highly scalable. You just can't switch everything just like that and say, we're going to stop that completely and do this now.
You'd be in shock. Some of my most agile customers is New York City Transit, okay, MTA. Mm-hmm. Huge elephant, right? Trust me, they don't turn so easily from here to there.
Right.
They have developed really an agile method of putting out small apps. First, they put out vacation relief. Then they put out absence requests. Then they put out scheduling. Now they're putting out Pickboard, right? And you're right. When we first talked about migrating forms, we spoke for a year and a half. Nothing moved forward.
Right.
Then we had a manager there, Carolyn, who basically said, look, we need this app now. It's urgent. It's COVID. Let's get it out. It was out in 4 days. She said, holy cow, the next app, the next app, the next app, the next app. And this is what you need. You need visionaries who are like, let's do it.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay. So we'll have a good trip to Florida. It's great to see you getting back into the conference circuit as things are starting up again. Hopefully, you mentioned this is going to be half virtual. That's probably the model actually moving forward for at least a little while. And you'll get to see, I would imagine, a certain number of ACE directors from the Oracle community there as well, right?
Hopefully.
And would this
You never know.
So is this the first physical conference you've been to?
Since February,
Of 2020.
No, I think it was 19. I was in Oracle Open World in February in London. So when was that?
Okay.
I think that was 2019, right? No, it was 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
You're right.
Yeah,
2020.
Good. Well, have a good trip.
Thank you.
And we will catch up with you hopefully someday again physically in Israel, because I've been wanting to go there and haven't had an opportunity, and of course everything,
You are invited for falafel. You
Cool,
tell me when you're ready. We'll
Cool.
have the Oracle Israel user group invite you.
Absolutely. Cool. Great. Thanks, Mia. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks so much for having me.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.